Hello there, everybody. Let's get going on some game development stuff. Now, the first thing that I do want to point out is that I don't really have an idea as to what exactly we're going to be doing today. We're just going to hang out and do stuff. And I think the best way to get started on doing stuff is probably to just play through and see where we run into issues, and then those issues, whenever we run into them, we note them down and we fix them up. I think that makes the most sense for us right now. So that's what we're doing. Let's get started. I can just load my game, and I think one of the first things that we want to do here is probably try out the combat in this specific room, because there is a little bit of an issue with one of the enemies, I believe. I just want to check whether or not it's still there, if we've already fixed it. We can activate this spawner, and then I think this spawns too many enemies at once to begin with. And I think, okay, that's issue number one. When we get hit, we need to disable our hitbox. Because that's still an issue that has not been fixed yet. And it really, really should be. So let's keep that in mind for a moment while I keep this going. And I do my special attack here. Hello everybody joining in as we get started here. This is actually like not that great. I don't love the fact that the collision here is also blocking the camera channel. So let's change this to custom collision. And right away let's dive into the hitbox related issue. So the camera, it should not block, it should be just ignoring the camera channel. Hello from Georgia, USA. That's quite a ways away. Isn't it like just... I'm very bad at time zones, so don't mind me, but isn't it like the middle of the day over there? It's a Friday. Got the day off? I don't know, is there anything special today that has a day off, or do you just like... Or are you doing this like during work or school hours, right? Because I'm not gonna say you should stop watching, because it's good for my metrics. Anyway, whenever we get hit, we should disable the... That's actually a very good question. How are we gonna do that? Do we have a function for that? I don't remember how we actually drive the hitboxes and stuff. Let me just check. That might be an animation blueprint related thing. So we have damage box off and damage box on, which, yeah, we don't really... that's less than ideal, to be honest with you. And how do these functions work? Let me open up my C++ class for that, because I feel like we need to revise how this works anyway. We have our current weapon set hitbox state. Okay, so we can just make a function for that on the... Huh. I don't know why it has a second Visual Studio open there. My weekend for work. I mean, the long weekend's always nice. Especially when you spend it watching my stuff. That's double nice. That's why comments are super important. Yeah, it is. I just set this up in not a great way, but we'll figure this out later. I think I can deal with this. For the most part, the weapons that I foresee only will have one hitbox anyway. There's one specific weapon that's like dual swords that will have 2 hitboxes. That might be a bit of an issue, but we'll fix that when we get to that point, which will not be right now. So for right now, I think what we'll do is we'll go into the... I wish we could double click on a casting node to open up the class that corresponds to it. That would be a little easier for navigational purposes. Matter of fact, it might actually like not be overly difficult to make a plugin to do that. I should look into that. That would be a very useful plugin if that's not too difficult to make. What are we doing? Characters, player, third-person character. Technically works Saturdays to Tuesdays currently. So it's still pretty good, right? That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. So that's still a 4-day work week. I would like that very much. Well, a lot of weeks I have 4-week work days, so I shouldn't complain. And then open up this. So when we set the hitbox, you probably also want to set the particles, because there's no real reason for the particles to be set independent from this. So let's just make this into one function, which the easiest way to get to it is just opening it like that. We just set trail to the hitbox state, and that consolidates those functions together a little bit better. I prefer to have a Gamedev work week, to be honest. I mean, I prefer to just get free money. Nah, that's not true. I would prefer to do this all day, every day. But for as of right now, for me at least, this kind of thing happens off business hours. So we can just get rid of these now, in theory. And then whenever we get hit, what is the best way to do that? I guess what we want to do is in the blueprints we have somewhere in here, surely, in the enemies, gameplay ability system, gameplay abilities, play basic attack animation, maybe in the knockback actually, that makes the most sense. When I get knocked back is when I need to... This is knockback for... That's not the knockback I need. What I need is a knockback for the player, I think, because this is how the enemies get knocked back. Yeah, so what I need is in here, gameplay ability system, gameplay abilities, player knockback, somewhere in here, player knockback, there we go. And this should also already have a reference somewhere to the player, maybe. It actually doesn't. Huh, interesting. Cast to action RPG or third-person character, rather. And just set hitbox to false. That little oversight has been bugging me for like a month every time I try the game. So this is really satisfying. Oh, sorry, I just laughed into the microphone a little too loud. This is really satisfying to finally get fixed up. I really should just put like a save point up there so I don't have to do this platforming bit every single time, because apparently I suck at platforming. It's not that bad. I just need to... It doesn't help that I'm playing this on mouse and keyboard, okay? Mouse and keyboard is not good for platforming. I feel like these platforms might be a little bit too small, but also having them be these tiny little jumps kind of has like something fun to it, in a way. I don't know. Now, let's try to purposefully get hit while we're attacking, which is kind of a difficult thing to do, but it seems to have fixed itself now, so that's a good thing. Okay, at least that's been fixed now. Was nothing but a visual bug. I believe even the hitbox itself does get turned off. It's not even like the hitbox remains in an active state. It's just a particle system that refused to turn off. Now that I say that, that doesn't make a lot of sense though. So it probably did have the hitbox still being active now that I think about it. So it's a good thing we fixed that, isn't it? Now, let's try to get rid of you before anything else, because you are gonna be an issue otherwise. Oh yeah, you also need to stay down for like a second after you hit the ground, because at the moment you don't, and that's really annoying. The whole idea of those flying dudes is that you hit them out of the sky by countering their own attacks back at them, and then they remain on the ground for a bit, so you can, well, kill them. But at the moment, they just fall down and immediately start going back up. And the only way to really deal with them is to use this teleport attack. And that's not really what I want. So... hold on. Okay, never mind. I thought I heard something. That being said, this guy does just hang out down here, but... I don't know what's really going on with those guys, but that is something we definitely should be fixing. Now, next up we have... okay, first and foremost, we probably don't want to have two of those shamans in this wave, because that would be not a good time. Then again, actually, if you're going to be chasing one, the other still has the opportunity to attack you. So maybe... oh yeah, and those attacks don't actually hurt me, do they? Yeah, no, they don't. That's another thing that I definitely need to fix. Does the lightning attack these guys have hurt me? Yeah, the runes don't hurt me, I know that much. But I need to... no, not that one. Do the other one. You do this from a distance, right? Yeah, so these ones also don't hurt me, I don't think. Kind of hard to see when I'm also being attacked by those ghosts, but we'll figure it out. Come on. Do the lightning thing. Do the lightning thing before everything else attacks me, please. You're not doing the lightning thing. I need you to do the lightning thing. Wait, do they hurt me? Hold on a moment. They do hurt me. And so do... I could have sworn that I hadn't programmed that in yet. Apparently, I already have that functioning. Okay, never mind. That's good. That's really good. That said though, their AI, and most enemies AI, but specifically these guys' AI, definitely has some room for improvement. And okay, that is actually an issue. You shouldn't be able to have... you see, that one didn't actually hurt me. But you shouldn't be able to do that attack while the player is already cursed. That's the way it's labeled as in the code. So something's still going quite wrong there. But let's try not to die, because I also need to check whether or not the key spawns when I actually win this fight. And it's also a good test on how fair that this fight is to begin with, because it feels like this fight might be slightly unfair. Come on, when one of them dies, they become easier to deal with. So I do think that having two of them there actually does add something. And is worth having. Come on. We can dodge it, and we can destroy you. You know, maybe they need to be a little less speedy, because they're a little too fast and running away to actually be able to properly hit them a lot. Which might be good, but it also feels like it's just a tad bit too annoying to deal with. So just like 10% slower or something. I need to heal. Like really badly. And then the music stopped. Oh no, the music does loop. Okay. I thought it didn't for a moment there. To be fair, this is just an AI generated temp track, so the fact that it doesn't loop properly kind of makes sense. But at least it's set to like loop in the code. That's good. This should be... Yeah, okay, so there's only 2 waves. Then we have... Wait a second, I don't think the... Yeah, the barrier doesn't disappear. Oh, okay. Yeah, the barrier doesn't disappear once you enter battle, so you're stuck up here. That's funny. Let's open a level blueprint for this thing. I don't think I have that open yet. And this is 1.5, I believe. No, 1.6 combat trial. Once the key is collected, we want the barrier, which I think I have a reference to already here. Yep. We can just destroy that actor as well. That way we force the player to pick up the key, because the barrier won't come down without that. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay, what else were we looking at fixing that we... Oh yeah, those air golems. That's kind of an issue, the way that those were working there for a moment. So let's look at their behavior tree. In the meantime, how's everybody doing this fine Friday? Well, if you're not in Europe, evening, night. Like, if you like in Asian or Australian time zones, you probably shouldn't be watching. You should probably be sleeping. So if you're in America, how's your day? If you're in Europe, how's your evening? If you're in Australia, go to bed. Anyway, this is the golem, which it doesn't have anything in here for being stunned. That's weird. It does have. It's just... Apparently I never set its tag to being stunned. How are we gonna deal with that actually? That's a very good question. We can do that through the animation. Whenever the hurt animation plays, we check whether or not it's currently in flying state or in a following state. And if it's in a flying state, we set its stunned to true for a certain amount of time, and then we set it back. So that way we can't just endlessly prolong the stun tag. I think that makes the most sense. Yeah, let's do it that way. Let's at least try to see whether or not that works properly. So we'll open up the enemies here. Basic Reaper, that's... no. Where's the animation blueprint for the guy that I want? You're not telling me that I put that in blueprints. Did I? I don't know. We're about to find out. This is definitely an air thing. Golem. We'll just open up the blueprint and find the animation blueprint through there, because I am horribly disorganized. It is in enemies, golem, assets. Probably shouldn't be in there. I'm gonna be honest with you, probably shouldn't be in there. Additionally, I work at 1:20 a.m. No, don't do that. Well, I mean, if you work night shifts and you have the day off, that's one thing. For 10 freaking hours, yeah, no, don't do that. that seems bad. Like in comparison to the 12-hour work day that you're used to, 10 hours might seem good, but it's still like probably not healthy. I mean, if you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. I get that, but that does not seem healthy. Damage 1, 2, or 3. How do we... So how do we set this knockback? Okay, we set this knockback through the tag. Oh, the character has the tag, but the ability system component does not. That's a little annoying, because I don't remember where I set this tag from. So what we'll do for the golem is we're just going to copy this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check on the self-actor whether or not that's got the tag for being stunned. And that, in theory, hopefully, means that I don't have to dive in my, like, 3-month-old code to try to figure out where the hell I even set that tag. Like, I like tags, I really do. They really make the game design experience a lot smoother. But from a programming perspective, it kind of just makes dead ends in your code from like a reference perspective. If you reference things through like, well, references or variables or whatever, okay, that seems pretty good. You seem to stay down for like a minute. Or you don't. Never mind. Okay, that does not work. Fuck. Okay, so what we do instead is we don't do that, and I really should be reworking some of the like damage dealing stuff. I don't use the built-in deal and apply damage, or damage applied, damage dealt, whatever system, and I should be, because I simply didn't think about using that when I reworked my whole fucking thing. And at this point, it would be a pain to rework, but the longer I put that off, the more of a pain it's going to be, so I probably should just rework it to use those. Yeah, no, I know the cursor capture is a little weird sometimes on the main menu. So that is that is annoying. I am aware. What is the best place to do this? Should I just do this in... No. Should I finish my sentences when I'm live streaming? I probably should. So what I was thinking is, should I just implement the stunned mechanics into the player attack itself? And the answer is that's probably a bad idea, because at that point I am applying it to every single possible thing that I'm attacking, while I specifically wanted to apply to these. So What we're going to do is we will do it through the animations, and I will make a animation notify for that simply. It's still not a very elegant way to do it, but it's the way we're going to do it. So maybe at some point... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, just right click. It's been a long week. Okay. Start... start stun. Oh, new notify. I'm an idiot. Start... stun. Stun. You know what? Works for me. I don't care. Yeah, no, I know I should fix that at some point. It's just not very high in priority right now, because that entire menu is going to need... That's very temporary anyway. There needs to be a proper main menu at some point. So for something that is sometimes kind of an issue for some people in a temporary solution, I don't really feel like putting too much time into that. I'll look more into that when I make the proper main menu at some point, or at least a thing that's going to eventually evolve into the proper main menu. Because frankly, I might not even do a traditional UI for the main menu. I might do more of a 3D walking in a room, and when going to certain places that then pops up in a UI, and then when you walk away it removes that UI. That's an idea I've been playing around with a little bit in my head. And that also would get rid of this issue altogether. So it kind of depends on what I end up doing. This is going to need to cast to character. The camera controller stops in place when attacking and sprinting. As in, I need to check this real quick, because I don't think it should. Oh no, it does. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, that's entirely right, because you're it just disables player input at all during both of those actions. That's halfway by design, not specifically the fact that you can't rotate the camera anymore. It's just it disables player input altogether, and that part is very much by design. But I hadn't really thought about the fact that that also kind of locks your camera in place. Might be annoying. That's actually quite a good point. So maybe I need to implement something that only prevents other input actions, but still allows the camera movement. A little bit annoying to deal with, but not that big a deal probably. Of your contents, question, do you know of a way to have a 3D world health bar that's not in tick or screen space? You definitely shouldn't have your health bar in tick. Well, it's not that big a deal, but if you also do your health bar on all of your enemy characters, you don't want to be updating every enemy health bar on every frame. That is way overkill. You only really need to update those things when there's a change applied to them. I think my enemy health bars actually do work on event tick, and that's not good, so don't do that. Let me get movement mode, I think it's called. Mode. It's movement mode. Can we not get that? We should be able to get that. Oh, probably get character movement is what we need to do. Movements. And that's probably at the bottom there. Yeah, okay. I feel like the camera should also move while you're attacking. The camera itself, I mean, it moves with your character, right? Because you're applying root motion. but the camera has some lag to it, so it doesn't move in sync with your character. It like lags behind a little bit. Maybe it would be more impactful if the camera moves with the player. That's a pretty good idea, actually. I like that idea. Let me try that real quick. I think that would make it feel more impactful, and that should be really easy to implement. So if we go into the... No, that's the wrong folder, because of course it is. We have enemies. No. Characters. Player. Gas. Gameplay abilities. Basic. Sword attack. Somewhere the fuck in here. We can... If we already have a reference to the third-person character, we do. Get camera, boom. We should be able to just say enable camera lag. Now we need to set that. Set camera lag to false, and then at the end we can set it back to true. Somewhere in here surely we have the end gameplay ability. There we go. Let's just try get camera boom, set lag back to true. And let's see what that feels like. Oh, I right-clicked. Yep. You see, it becomes an issue for me sometimes as well. There we go. Yeah. I don't love it, to be honest. I was kind of expecting it to have more movement to it, to feel faster. It doesn't really feel very fast. And also don't think it also has the hard cut from the camera lag being suddenly disabled, which isn't great. So I'm going to remove that again if I can find the fucking gameplay ability. That is. Where is it? Somewhere in there. There we go. Now we go back to begin. There we go. Moving with the mouse controller, but leave all the other input off. Yeah, so you do want the camera to be able to move during the attack. I think that's probably a good idea, but that does require some pretty major changes to how I have it set up right now, as in right now I just disable the inputs, and if I need to disable specific inputs, that might be a bit more troublesome. But that might be a better idea than what I have right now, for sure. Going back to this. Get movement mode. And we check if this is equal to... oh my god, that's... How does that work again in Blueprint? Get... movement mode. Literal inner movement mode. I think, yeah, that's how we do that. Okay. What? Is it as byte or something? Make literal byte? That's what we do. Okay. It's kind of annoying that you can't compare those directly. You probably can in some way, but this will work. I guess there's a weird depth pass thing that I don't really know much about. Oh, my question is, if we put the in world space, the tutorial rotated in the tick function to face the camera. Oh, you can do that. Yeah, that's just billboarding. That works. No, that works perfectly fine. Like, that's the kind of thing that you just want to do on event tick, because it's something that needs to be updated every frame, so it's fine to do that on tick. Yeah, see, this doesn't work. Why not? Can we just do it this way then, maybe? Equal enum. Oh, it's got a different one for that. That sucks. But it now just checks the specific enum. Yeah, no, that... Okay, that's fine then. So yeah, now making that billboarding system to have a display in world space but still always be rotated towards the player, definitely in the tick events. Yeah. How do you save the game? At save points. Use switch. No, because I just need to check whether or not it's flying. I don't need to check any of the other states. So I just need to check this. Because if it is flying, we get ability system components, and we... Does it apply tag? Do I apply a gameplay effect to him that lasts 5 seconds or something? Yeah, that's probably the best way to do this. That's probably the way we're going to want to do this. I'm just going to put that... Oh my god, there's a lot in here. Let's put this in... there. Gameplay effects. Set character stunt. Let's prefix that with gameplay ability. Gameplay effects. I mean, this is the wrong folder. Try to stay tidy. I'm very bad at it, but I'm trying. How do I save your game? I mean, yeah, at a save point. There are save points. When you get to a save point, I think it is the enter key. And then you get a save menu. I probably should have a pop-up when you are at a save point that explains the enter key, because you're not the first person. I kind of assumed, and this is not a knock on you whatsoever, because again, other people had this. I've kind of assumed that like people have played games before and they run into something that looks like, or is even I think described in like text as a save point, that they probably just like press escape or enter to trigger it. A lot of people seem to miss that, so I need to add something to like specifically tell people how it works. You're definitely not the first and probably not the last person to miss that. That's it's definitely a thing that other people have run into. For now, let's set this to 5. Let's just set it to 5 for now. We can always come back to this and set it to like set by color or whatever. You see, what's weird is suddenly this doesn't have the whole tagging thing anymore. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's really weird. I don't understand. in my other project, there's a whole section here that just has the gameplay tags. I think it might be an Unreal 5.3 thing. They might have changed it in the 5.3 version. Anyway, so I think what I want to do is I want to add a modifier. No, that's not what we do. It's somewhere in here. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break actually, and then we'll be back. So give me a minute. And here we are again. Enter's not usually... yeah, it's the glowy circle on the ground. Enter's not usually the option for save menus. That is somewhat true, I'll admit that. But enter is also the normal pause menu. It's just when you're standing on a save point, instead of the pause menu coming up, it gives you the save menu, which is also like your level up menu and stuff like that. So I kind of hope that that would be like figured out through context, but most people do not. Which is exactly why people testing your game is so important. So yeah, it definitely should just tell you press this button to open the save menu. It should be interact. Same button. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. Well, my bathroom is like 3 steps away from where I work, so that's why it's so goddamn fast. I don't agree. It should be interacts because it's... Number one, I don't really have an interaction button. The interaction button is just the attack button for the most part. And number two, it is just a more extensive version of the pause menu that comes up when you do that. So I don't really think that it should be on a separate button. Because the only real button that would make sense would either be the healing button, the attacking button, or a whole button to itself, which, like, if I had an interaction system to begin with, which I might at some point add, to be honest, for like just flavor text and stuff on things, at which point maybe it makes sense to put it on that button. But I do think that putting it on the pause menu button does still make sense. I mean, there's an interaction. It kind of depends on how you see it, right? Because you can see this as it being an interaction. But it being an interaction also kind of implies that it is that you're interacting with something in the world, and save points are, in my opinion, not necessarily something that exists in the world, more so something that is there for the benefit of the player. In which case, to me, it makes more sense to map it to a button that is more like player-centric than like world-centric, if that makes sense. Yeah, enter is my pause button. It's not just a random button. Like, it's enter or escape. Both work, I believe. It's just I always use enter because when I playtest, I do it like in engine. And escape stops. Like, if I press escape... Fucking hate when this happens. if I press escape, what it does is it ends, which is not great. But if I press enter, you see this menu comes up, and then I continue. If I press enter here, this menu comes up. Probably should have just shown that to begin with rather than going on a rant, to be honest. Anyway, how does this stuff work again? Because there should be a whole separate ass section to this, and there is not. And I forgot how this works to begin with. It's not gameplay cues, right? No, it's not gameplay cues. Let's just go in here and gameplay effects. We have like healing, right? Checkpoint healing, something like that. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Gameplay effect heal player. It's a gameplay abilities that have tags, not gameplay effects. Is that it? That's it, I think. That doesn't really fix my issue then, does it? This definitely should be something that has... Yeah, here we go. Components. It's in components. Okay. So which blueprint will we be working with again? I think it's this one. Components. There we go. Took me a while to figure out. And then we have tags. Target tags, gameplay effect component. I'm just going to check which one this is. Target tags, gameplay effect component. There we go. That's it. And there we can just say for as long as this gameplay effect is active, the actor that we're going to have this on will be stunned. Okay, and then we take this, yep, apply gameplay effects to self, that's fine. And we... Wait a second, I already had something that set it to stun. For fuck's sake. This will just set it to stun for a period of time though, so that's still useful to have as a alternative. Effect context does not really matter. So this should now fix my floating issue. I got derailed like 5 times getting here, but sure. Yeah, it is an engine setting, but I like the fact that it is escape. So I just have enter also mapped to it. It's just a start button, I believe, on the controller. I mean, I can check that if I wanted to, but I don't really care too much right now. But yeah, in a normal packaged version of the game, you can just use escape for that as well, which makes just way more sense than enter. Like enter is, you're right about that not being very standard as a way to deal with this kind of thing. Okay, so you go to the ground and you just immediately fly away back up anyway. Can you please just like hit thank you? It seems like they stay on the ground, but what I really need to do is I need to just check the behavior tree while this is running. That's what I need. So let's do that. You guys are not going to be able to see this, unfortunately, because I can't put it on screen and play test at the same time. But I'll give you all the juicy, important updates. Don't you worry for even a moment. Now, I need to... oh, it hasn't spawned in those actors yet. That makes sense. That actually doesn't make sense, because those actors do exist, they're just not visible. That's slightly worrying. Though I suppose they also are not running like any logical code, like they're not processing anything. So the fact that it doesn't see them as being active still makes a certain amount of sense. Okay, there we go. Now I just got to figure out which one it is tracking. And hopefully it is this one. It seems to be... Okay, it's stunned. The moment it hits the ground, it stops being stunned, though. Why is that? Why is that? That's a very good question. I did have... There we go. Do you have any code that might do that? It doesn't look like it. Does this class doesn't have any code in it whatsoever. So that's definitely not it. Is it in the parent class to this? I kind of doubt it. But it's worth a check. Yeah, that's the wrong class. That makes a lot of sense. We have update damage box. We've got normal tick. We've got begin play. Yeah, none of that seems to be relevant to that either. Why does it reset its stun status the moment it hits the ground? Doesn't take 5 seconds for it just to hit the ground, does it? Unless it's got something to do with the behavior tree itself. Hold on. Let's drag this back into here. Move toward flight location, which is the actor itself, or rather the player actor. And this is just a patrolling thing, so this doesn't really... It still doesn't really explain why it resets its stun the moment it hits the ground. It's kind of weird. Is there any more animation notifiers that might be doing weird stuff? Yeah, should probably also actually be doing this, shouldn't it? Oh, hold on. I think I know. I think I know. I don't know where it is, but I do know that... No, that still doesn't make a lot of sense. Unless... the question comes back to where is this status.stun getting set from? It has to be the player damaging the... My god, which one is it? It has to be the player damaging the enemy that sets that tag. That's the only thing that really makes sense to me at the moment. So let's try to check for tags. Nope. Nope, that's got nothing to do with tags either. You see, I don't think maybe one of these gameplay effects, like gameplay damage enemy, maybe that adds the thing to being. Yeah, no, this does not set any tag either. I need to start closing some of these down because it's starting to be really difficult to find what I actually need. Gameplay knockback. We already fixed that. We don't really need this anymore either. That was opened by mistake to begin with. Play basic attack animation. I don't think we need either. So where did I actually put my... Probably accidentally closed it. Let's open it back up. Sword-based attack. Oh, it's just all the way over there. I'm still not really sure why this has a different color icon, by the way. That should probably be a little bit more worrying. Oh, it's gameplay effect knockback, because by the end of this, it's... Yeah, that's it. That's it. Okay. That makes sense. But that doesn't really give me... Okay, it gives me an answer as to why it's going wrong. It still doesn't really give me many ideas as to how to fix this. Other than... Making a separate tag that does something similar is really the only thing that I can think of. It's kind of fucked now that if I have a gameplay effect that has a tag associated with it and a gameplay ability, and the ability ends but the tag is still active, that it just removes that tag. Surely there must be some way to like give priority to things, right? And you would assume that an effect would have priority over an ability, but maybe it makes sense the other way around, an ability having priority over an effect. I'm just going to make a separate tag for this. For now, that's, I think, the easiest way to fix this up. Wherever the... there we are. Okay, so we add stunned, and we just stunned dots immobile. And the wonderful thing is, because it's a sub tag, this still might fuck it, actually. This still might fuck it. We could just make two different sub tags. Stun.knockback, stun.immobile, and then just in the behavior tree check just for stunned. Because at this point we are applying and then removing the parent tag. And I think when you remove the parent tag, any child tags that might be active will probably also get removed again. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is probably... Okay, it's a different issue. But he's not rising back up again, so that's a start, isn't it? Okay, no, this one is. So I don't know what the hell made that one bugged. But we can still fix this. I still got these. We can make this a stunned dot knockback instead. So we can say knock. I've got way too many tags. I need to clean up my tags at some point. So we can apply stun.knockback, and now those two will be treated as separately, but in behavior tree still be checked on their parent tag. So it's now checking either or both. But as long as one of those is active, the behavior tree is going to block, and deactivating one is not going to now impact the other. I suck at platforming on keyboard and mouse. Which is fair, because that's definitely one of the worst ways to play any kind of platforming game. And this is not exactly a platforming game to begin with. So, okay, let's see. You... Bad example, because you immediately went into an attack on me. Which is not... Okay, still does not fucking work, does it? Oh, that's... It's probably because I only have the animation out of... Oh my fucking god. So that everything I just did probably wasn't even necessary. The issue was the fact that only one of the animations has an anim notify. Yeah, we probably need to do some changes to the animation setup for this guy. Okay, now that everything has... Oh, that's probably also why one of them got stuck and the other one didn't. Which also makes me think that, in fact, this is a bad idea to do it this way. Those need to be animation montages. Those need to be montages that only get played once, and then the stunned animation should play based on this. So we have, when that's true, we play the stunned animation, but that then gets overridden by an animation montage. Which will be in the I suppose we can make a separate slot for damage. Where do we do that again? I think it's... Let's just make these things into montages first, actually. Browse to asset, please. Create montage for all three of them. Montage sections, no. It is in the animation blueprint that you make these montages, right? Or the montage layers. Is that something that's just not turned on at the moment? Animation slot manager. There we go. Okay, so add slot to it doesn't really matter which group. Damaged. Slots. Play animation in slots. Play animation. It's in the details panel. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Damaged. Okay, so now we need to trigger... We're getting there. We're getting there. We probably should just put the montages for the animation, like just pick one at random and put those on the anime blueprint class itself. I think that makes the most sense. I probably should update all of the other enemies to have a similar system, because I think it works a little bit better anyway. So let's do that. We have the enemy class, the base enemy class, and now I need to look up. Actually, I've got Copilot, I'll probably be fine. Do we need that to be public? I don't think we need that to be public. We can put it in protected. Array of anim montages for knockback animations. There we go. Added defaults only, but we also wanted to be able to blueprint read only. Should blueprints be able to write to that? I don't think there's any reason for blueprints to be writing to that. Okay, so now we go back into the sword attack and I don't fucking know. What do we even do? Get knockback animations, and we take a random item from array, and we simply play montage. And we don't really care about anything else, honestly, but we do need to, so we do play montage and wait. Because that works a little bit easier. Play montage and wait. Even though we're not going to be doing much waiting, and this really doesn't fit within the space that I have here. And something's crashing. Fuck. I don't think that's really an issue. Let's just compile everything normally and try again. Potentially unutilized local variable. It doesn't matter, I'm not using that code anyway. I'm gonna throw that away at some point because that puzzle that I tried to make is a damn nightmare, let me tell you. Straight up just not a good time. I think I've sunk like 20 hours into making that puzzle work and it's just not doing it. So I think the idea of having a puzzle in every single dungeon is going to be replaced by having a mini game in every single dungeon, because that seems altogether less bothersome. Also, designing a fun little mini game, it can be something as easy as just like being a quick shooting gallery or whatever, is a lot easier than putting in a puzzle. And it's also like puzzles are just really hard to test, which makes them a nightmare to work with anyway. So I think replacing the puzzles with minigames is probably just a good idea altogether. So now we need to go through all of our blueprints for our enemies and put in animation montages for the stuff. This is the flying golem though, so for this we just want to test this one out. We'll get the rest up to speed in a moment. So knockback animations. That's 3 of them in this case. Golem. damage. Why is there no... Did that not save? That didn't... I didn't save those because the engine crashed. That's fair. Luckily this is easy to make. We just make a montage. I should look into what a anim composite is. I'm assuming it's just a composite of multiple animations. But how is it different from a montage? Can you just not play it like an animation montage and will it be treated like an animation sequence instead? Because that would still be quite interesting, just slightly less useful at first sight. I'll have to look into it at some point. Now, we have these. Don't attack anything that's not a flying golem, because there's a chance that it will crash the engine because it's trying to play a montage that does not exist, because it's trying to get a montage from an array that's empty. Yeah, maybe a good idea to just build in protection against it anyway. Then again, that should never happen to begin with in the actual game. So let's test it in a moment as well. But for now... Huh, okay. It's good to know that it doesn't crash the engine at least. What's less good to know is that this still does not fucking seem to work. But that may also be because I ended up not... It's the wrong thing. Need this animation blueprint. That may also be because I didn't end up putting the notifies in all of them. Did I? No, I did. I definitely did. Let's put them at the beginning of the animation rather than the end. That way they are sure to be triggered. There's a small chance that they don't get triggered, and that might be the issue. Also, let's double check the animation blueprint itself, whether or not I have everything in there. Yeah, no, that's the issue. Still good to probably just trigger them from the start, anyway. You always have to call in your videos. Well, those are pre-recorded and edited. I'll tell you one thing for free. A video that's 20 minutes long usually takes about 40 minutes to record, even if I do things in advance. Like, usually when I record a video, I've made the entire thing before in a separate project. Matter of fact, usually when I'm recording a video, that separate project is also open on my second monitor while I record for me to reference if I'm doing something wrong. And for the simpler things, it's usually not that big a deal. But when I'm doing some more complex stuff like the gameplay ability system course that I'm doing, or over the past week I've been recording a series for an inventory and item system. Like today, I recorded a video for making the inventory UI, which is just a pain in the ass. I set up everything like for the infrastructure for the items and dealing with it on an inventory component and stuff like that, but now I need to display it in a UI because you kind of need that. The recording for that was 51 minutes. After I cut it down into the actual tutorial, it was like 19 or 20 minutes. So there's a lot of me getting annoyed that gets cut out. And that is with preparation. So... yeah. Doing this kind of stuff live and getting confused. This is also like a much bigger project, of course, which I've been working on for months at this point. So there's a lot of stuff that I have not opened up for 2, 3, 4 months. And then suddenly like, what the fuck was I thinking half a year ago? You know? That doesn't usually happen within videos. Those all get recorded and then they're done. And with the longer courses, they are usually spread out over a couple of weeks for being recorded, but still, that's a couple of weeks on a video series that has like one very specific goal versus months into like a big project. I get lost in my own stuff at this scale, which is only going to get worse as the game goes on. But maybe I'll learn to be structured in, in my work. I kind of doubt it. Damage. Montage slots. Damage. This will be replaced again by the stunt animation, which actually I quite like the stunt animation, I'll be honest. Like I think this is actually like probably one of the better animations that I have in the game. It kind of feels like Porygon Z, if you know Pokemon, right? It gives me kind of Porygon Z vibes, and I kind of like that. I mean, I'm glad to get frustrated on people's behalf. So, and a fair bit of the cutting for those videos is done automatically. Like all of the mistakes I make, I still need to cut out, but all of the like dead space where I'm referencing things back and forth and stuff like that, where I don't talk, I just have that cut out automatically, just based on like if there's no audio, just throw it out. So the editing process for those kind of videos, it might be a 50-minute recording, but once that automated process is done, like that 50-minute recording is already down to like 25 minutes, and then I need to go over it myself to cut out all of the mistakes, because of course those can't be automatically spotted and changed up. Okay, yeah, everything checks out. So it's not really that harsh of a workflow. Like it's not that big a deal, editing wise, to do for the most part. And there's a lot of videos that sometimes when I have like an entire free day and I just dedicate it to videos, I produce like 4 or 5 in a day. And then also have some time left over to like do a short or two, you know? So it's the workload per video is actually quite low comparatively. Except that this still does not fucking work, so I hate myself. The moment they land, the moment they fucking... Oh, wait. Wait. I just had a crash, of course. Some bloopers at the end, and that might actually be quite funny to do during like the Patreon shout out portion. Like doing all of the vocal Patreons, which is just one at the moment, and then just cutting in with some bloopers when they happen. That's actually a pretty good idea. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Like, I'm not going to, at least for the inventory series that I'm doing, I'm not going to change the style in the middle of the series. But for the standalone videos and maybe the series that I do after this, I'm going to maybe like give that a try. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. So knockback thing. Character gets stunned. Stun.immobile. And then gameplay effects for the enemy damage. That's not it, it's enemy knockback. That's the wrong one, right? This is knocking back the... Oh my god, it still doesn't work. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable this. And with disable I just mean flat out remove apparently. And check whether or not this fixes anything. I feel like there's someplace else in my code that is fucking with this, and I don't know what it is. But they're very clearly when they hit the ground, which is at the end of that gameplay ability. So maybe I should just check what happens on end ability there as well. I haven't even looked into that. That probably would have been a good place to start, actually. Like, do you fly away again now? You do. That's not a great sign. I'm not... Yeah, okay. So gameplay ability knockback. Let's take a fucking look. Stun recovery. That'll do it. That'll fucking do it. What the hell? I didn't write this, I'll tell you that much. But I also don't think that this is necessary. I don't remember what this does, and when I just... Oh, on stun recovery, hold on, stun recovery, that's probably a delegate. I don't think that does anything anymore, maybe. But let's check, because it might. And it might also fuck up things in other places very badly. But that's what game development is, isn't it? It's having an idea, doing it, moving on, figuring out that the way you did it was a terrible idea, and doing it all over again with new context, knowing that you're going to probably replace it anyway in like a month, because the entire process repeats. Okay, now, you stay on the ground for like a minute, and then you go back up. That seems to be the case now. Okay, I think this works. It doesn't do the stunned animation yet. It's kind of weird. But that might also be because, again, something crashed here, and we... Yeah, that's it. Okay. Like somewhere in here we have a caster enemy. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't play the montage anymore. Okay. Before we do this, because this is where things crashed last time, and that was probably because of live coding, but I don't want to take that risk. Get animations. You have no idea how happy I was when I found out that just getting a random array item was a pre-existing function. Because what I usually used to do is get the length of the array, get a random integer in a range. It's just a pre-existing function. I'm an idiot. Play montage and wait. Just gonna put that in there. You know what the weirdest thing is? Is it seemed like it worked a moment ago, but because that animation notify wasn't being fired off, by all accounts, it shouldn't have been working. You know, if it works, I'm just not gonna complain about it. And this issue is back again, because of course it is. Okay. What the fuck? Oh, is it? No, can't be. I was gonna say, is it because I start falling before the end of the animation, but that's not how any of that works at all. Maybe it is? Okay, none of this works. And that will probably because... No, you do have. But they are not set to the right slot. Bit by bit we're gonna get there. Bit by bit we're gonna get there. They're trying to play on the default slots, and that's being overwritten or something. And why does it change the scale of them when they're in a different slot? Hopefully that's only in the preview. That's quite troubling. Yeah, I really do need to just put that save point up here, because I'm getting kind of tired of platforming all the way up here every single time. And again, that's what players are going to probably experience anyway, so putting myself in that mindset. Yeah, still doesn't play those animations, does it? Why not? You really should at this point. There's no reason for it not to. Okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on the animation graph for a moment here as we play. Which means that, yes, I'm going to have to platform all the way back up there again, because that's just my life now. Hopefully it'll automatically pick an instance to follow. But I might have to set that up. In which case, I'll try not to die. I'm getting really good at this platforming bit now. It's not automatically picking a instance, I don't think. So let's pick this one. I don't know which one that is. I think it's that one over there. Please, everybody, stop trying to murder me. I'm trying to murder your friend. It might be the other one after all. Okay, Huh. So. Let me double check whether or not air enemy base inherits from ground enemy base. Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't even have this array, so... This is quite a predicament. Because I'm quickly running out of ideas. Let me think, let me think. Let's put this back to knockback. Cancel other abilities with damage dot knockback. Or with attack. We are invincible, block this ability. I guess the best way to do this at this point is to just print out the tags that this thing has every frame. get tags. For each loop. Name and print that son of a bitch. Let's see if this does anything at all. Well, it will do something, surely. I just want to know whether or not the tags that I think should be getting activated are actually getting activated. I can troubleshoot from there. Still doesn't explain why the... Fuck. Still doesn't explain why those animations aren't playing. Well, they definitely should be. But that's a worry for... Well, actually right now. I was going to say that's a worry for later, but it really isn't. Okay, so it's attacking. Stunned, knockback. It's never getting the stunned immobile tag. Because those animations aren't playing. Now, okay, that makes sense. But it has a stunned knockback, which gets removed the moment it hits the ground. So far, so good. That makes sense. It just needs to run those animations, which it's not doing. And why is it not doing that? Because it might not be in flying mode. Is that it? No. No. Surely not. It's gotta be, right? It has to be in flying mode. Unless it just doesn't have gravity, maybe? How does he actually get knocked down? Let's take a look at that first. How do I do that? It's a goddamn good question, you know that? Because I frankly don't really know. I've got this crazy problem on third-person blueprints that every C++ class, mouse, camera, movement, I can't see details or anything ever happened to you. Did you probably did, but I just want to check, did you mark them as a U property? Because if you don't mark them as a U property, they will show up as components, but you can't see anything in the details panel. I'm also getting a text. Hold on, I got a... there we go. Sorry if you heard the sound effect and thought, hey, I also have WhatsApp. Hold on, now I lost my stuff. So if I go into my header file here, you'll see that I have like a bunch of things like the mapping input contacts, the camera components, spring arm components, the ability system components, all that kind of stuff. I'll just zoom in a little bit actually. That's maybe a bit much. And we have that marked as a U property, which is in this case visible anywhere for the camera component, but for most of them they're added anywhere, so that I can actually edit those details panels as well. If you don't mark them as either visible or, again, probably more likely added anywhere U properties, they don't show up with anything in the details panel. It sounds like that might be the issue. If that is not the issue, I'm not entirely sure. Just like I'm not entirely sure how the hell I'm even doing anything. New movement mode is falling. That makes sense. But at some point, the movement mode for the thingamajig should be reset to flying. But where does it do that? Wait a second. No, that makes sense. Because by the time that... Okay, no, that makes sense. By the time that animation plays, we're no longer in flying mode anyway. We're already in falling mode. And that really will always be the case. So there's really no point in checking unless I make a major change to my entire system here. Hold on, no, that still does not explain why the animation doesn't play. Because the fact that this doesn't get triggered through the animation, that's one thing. But the animation itself does not play. I'm going to still like hook this up directly instead. Just because, again, this doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. But this is not going to fix that, because the animation still doesn't play. So anything that's triggered through the animation definitely is not the issue. Unless somehow it getting set to a different moving mode is cancelling out the animation like a frame after it starts. But at least I would see something, right? That seems to have maybe done a thing. Could you please, like, could you please knock back? No, it's still. But it did play the animation this time, right? Am I going insane? Like yeah, I am, but like, am I going like really insane? I probably should just disable all the other enemies. What I should do is I should just put one of those flying enemies in a much easier to reach position. Okay, so it doesn't actually play those animations. What it does is it plays the stunned animation, which is a start. That's a good start. But it's still not playing these animations, and that is because reasons. It's trying to play the... Okay, no, I understand. It's trying to play the montage on the player. Play anim montage. We just need to use the normal node for it. So get mesh. I beg your pardon. There we go. Oh, that gets the assets rather than the components. That makes sense. So now this should fix all my problems. All my problems in the world should disappear. And I should be the happiest person alive. I will not be. Spoiler. Even if this works, I will not be. I was kind of thinking that today, after we fix maybe a few little issues, I can get working on like a system to make the weapon appear and disappear on like when you aren't in combats, and maybe start working on like the weapon cycling system, but no. Well, at least this seems to work, and now at some point you stop rotating and you are no longer stunned. I mean, I can just kind of juggle you at this point now, though, is the issue. But also, yeah, that animation should be able to loop. Yeah, that animation should be able to loop. But aside from that, that actually works quite well and looks pretty cool. So just set this to be a loop animation. And this works now. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Nice. But it also means that I now need to go over all of my other enemies and change their knockback animations into anime montages, which is something that I really have been thinking about doing for a while anyway, and this kind of forces my hand. But I think none of the other knockback animations will work now. Let me double check that. Oh no, they still do work, so I don't really need to do that yet. I probably should at some point in the near future, but this still does seem to work. Okay. That is an issue fixed. I feel very smart right now. I'm not, but I feel like I am. Okay. What next? Because I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going to get started on that weapon disappearing system now, because that's actually not that big a deal. It's actually just straight up not that big a deal. We can do that. At least the basics. I'm not going to put in the like particle effects to go with it, because I need to like make those and stuff. But we should be able to... Yeah, probably through being protected. Void. Hide. Weapon. Void show weapon. Probably make both of them U functions. U function, please. Blueprint callable for both of them. Thank you. No. Thank you very much. And this should, in theory, just be as easy as... Well, actually, no, they should be in public, because I think I'm going to drive this from the game mode. Because the game mode is going to have the info on whether or not you're in combat currently. Weapon hidden? I don't think I have that variable, man. I don't think I have that variable. A current weapon set visibility false, and current weapon set visibility true. Do I have a game mode? I do. Let's see, we have a lot of stuff here. Change in battle. If in battle, do I have a reference to the player character on this? I definitely should, right? Just like player. Do I not? That strikes me as a useful thing to have on the game mode. Not gonna lie. So we'll... no reason to have that public. U property... it doesn't need to be a U property, not really. Just a... Yes, exactly. That's what I wanted. How do you know? Please also throw in the right include now. You did not. Player include. I love Copilot. I really do. And on begin play. Do we have a begin play yet? think we do. We do not. So let's add one. Begin play. Does it understand what I mean? I don't think it does. Begin play. There we go. That's not what I wanted actually. What I want is I want to check if calm music exists in the first place. Then we do that. Carl's action RPG, gameplay static, get blank gameplay character. That makes sense. And then on music change. Player. Set weapon. What did I call it? Weapon hidden? Hide weapon. Be in battle is show weapon. And otherwise hide weapon. That should probably be on like a timer and stuff so that you run around with a second for a second with a weapon until it's like actually safe. Set visibility is not a member of weapon. Fuck you. I'm helping a friend make a game. It's a fan game of a VR game called Gorilla Tag. I've heard about Gorilla Tag before. I've never played it. Sounds like a nightmare, to be honest, but I've heard about it. Like, I'm sure the game is fine. It's just like the concept of gorillas chasing after you in VR sounds like a nightmare. So set visibility just simply does not exist on... Oh, hold on. Current weapon is not the component, is it? Yeah, no. I think the component's just called weapon, right? Child actor component. Yeah, that's it. So this one is set visibility false. That's it. So that should fix it. Hopefully. Still have some syntax errors, which are in here, because I probably just missed a semicolon up here. I did not. Is game mode line 46. Declaration of player hides class member. Oh, that makes sense. Did I call this player with lowercase p? I did. Then on line 121, there's also an issue. Battle music is not being seen as a valid thing for some reason. Oh, because I didn't actually finish this off. That should fix all my errors, I think. Let's see. Nope, it did not. There's still one more thing to fix. 165. I didn't ever make that a member. But then I don't need to cast to this here anymore. Just made that a local variable apparently. It's a game like a gorilla with no legs. VR makes sense. And the movement through your hands and swinging your arms to move. Yeah, seems like a workout. Then again, if you explain Beat Saber without much context, it's gonna seem really fucking weird as well. So, rendering visible. No, it's not supposed to be visible right at the bat. So, this will make the platforming seem a little bit less jarring with a sword swing sticking through. So this makes a lot more sense. And then whenever you attack, it should also enable your weapon like for a second and then make it disappear again. And it should set a timer when you attack, but it also should reset that timer when you attack. Okay, that's gonna be iffy. And that just makes the weapon appear. Okay. So, wow, there's a lot. Oh, that's live coding stuff. Okay, never mind. That's that scared me for a moment. I thought that was to do with my weapon stuff. So when we attack, there's a lot of stuff happening here. Don't need any of this stuff anymore. I suppose when we reset the combo, we can make it disappear if we're not in combat. First and foremost, what we should do is whenever we attack, we should just show weapon. That's the first part. And we should also capitalize things properly so that we don't get compiling errors. That's the second part. Then the disappearing of the weapon is a little bit more complex, but we'll make it work. And this also gets us started on the weapon switching system, because really what we're going to do is we're going to make the weapon disappear, wait a certain amount of time, and then make it reappear. And in the meantime, we're going to switch what weapon class we're wielding. That's the idea, at least. I don't know if that's going to work out exactly like that. But now we should, when we attack, spawn in the weapon. And we do. Okay. And then in reset combo, we hide weapon. The only thing is, at this point then, reset combo needs to also check whether or not we're currently in combat, if it wants to hide the weapon. Because what will happen now is, even in combat, it will hide the weapon, and I don't want that, so it's going to take a minute here. Maybe hide like reset combo isn't actually getting triggered anymore. Let's go back up to attack. So we have if attack counter is we do reset combo, But we also have a thing where it resets the combo if we don't do anything for a certain amount of time. And I don't know where I put that code. Is that just in one of the gameplay abilities in Blueprints? It would be in this one. Let's see, attack counter, if it is... so yeah, instead of setting the attack counter to being 0, what we need to do is we need to reset combo instead. Because that does more than just resetting that to 0 now. It actually does a thing. The game is so good, especially the graphics. I mean, thanks, but... Okay, so it's going to take a second, and then the sword should disappear. Does not do any such thing. I mean, I can check this through here. We can like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that still does not function as I would have expected. We get the attack counter, whatever. We reset the combo again. Okay, what we'll do instead of doing this through the C++, because it's so woven together anyway, like the reset combo probably can have hide weapon in it, that's fine. No, but this still makes sense actually. No, that still makes sense. Where does that timer come in though? Somewhere in here I put a wait or delay node. That should be ability end. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we've got set timer by function name reset combo after 1 second. I don't know why we're returning the timer handle here, because we're not actually doing anything with that. Oh, it's the timer handle on the third person character. No, it's not. Is it? Yes, it is, actually. It is. Okay. So then that should make the weapon disappear after a second. Unless hide weapon doesn't work properly. Let's check that. No, it sets visibility should be set to false. That still makes sense. So we should, for fuck's sake. So it should appear, and then ability end. A second later, combo should be reset. This thing should be invisible now. Looks very fucking visible to me. You know what we'll do? We'll close the engine for a bit here, and we'll just no. We'll recompile from source just to check. Maybe it's like a live coding bug. I don't know that it is. It probably isn't. But I would prefer to blame Unreal over taking responsibility and saying that it might be something that I did wrong. Surely me, couldn't have made a mistake. That's ridiculous to even insinuate such a thing. It's impossible. Highly unlikely me making a mistake. Have you seen the last 2 hours? I never make mistakes. I only make major fuck-ups. I mean, it's worth a check. I don't expect this to actually fix my issue. But it's worth a check. Let's see. Maybe this fixes something. Okay, that works. Wait a second. Still not fucking disappearing, is it? I'll try one other thing. Does it disappear at all? Is the question. There should be enemies in here. It seems like there might not be. There's no battle music at least, but that's because I have none set up. Okay, it seems like the enemies in here might be either part of a different streaming level or... Okay. This should make the weapon... It does disappear once I exit the thing. So... How? But how? How? Explain to me how. That portion of it works. And with that portion, I mean, let's see, this. If I go in and out of battle, it does show and hide the weapon. If I reset combo, it does not. Unless... Hold on. I have an idea. This will be really bad if this is the case, but I have an idea. Is the issue that I'm running a function on this blueprint that's called reset combo? There you fucking go. Oh my god, that's bad. That's really, really bad. So if we delete this, is that gonna result in like any stuff breaking, or is it just going to relink up to the... Yeah, that breaks some stuff. Hold on. In theory, it should be able to find... It's not a U function, that's why it got confused. Okay. At least I don't think it's a U function. Reset combo. That's the wrong class. That's why it's not finding anything. Yeah, so we make this a U function blueprint callable. Okay. 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 This is still going to end up with less than perfect results. I want to make that clear. But we should be able to reset combo now. And that will also be need to... This timer should still work then, right? In theory. Let's try. 1 second and it disappears. Fantastic. Now if we add some more interesting stuff to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we don't want it to do that, obviously. So we move this bit. To the and ability section instead. We copy it, and then this portion we can just delete. And this can be on end ability instead. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was just thinking, why did that get unconnected? But that does actually fully make sense. So if that's not, we just enable inputs. Otherwise, we reset combo and enable inputs. And that should make this thing not disappear. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and disappear. Cool. Except, of course, we don't actually want it to disappear. At the end of a combo, every single time. So we need to make this into 2 separate functions still. I mean, do we? I don't necessarily think that we... it's probably good to make the 2 separate functions still. Because we want to be able to reset the function or the combo counter without necessarily every single time despawning or respawning the weapon. Because that'll look real weird. Like if we just do combat stuff, right? Let's do some attacks. We do this, it disappears and then immediately reappears. That's gonna be weird. So this needs a little bit more work. I think we can agree on that. But this is a pretty good start. It's a pretty good start indeed. We're getting somewhere with this. Now the only thing is that the hide weapon function should not propagate to children. Yeah, I don't want it to propagate to children. You have an override for that, right? Propagate to children is false. Because we're going to be using a particle system that is a child of the weapon component to spawn in particles on. So if we make those invisible as well, that's not going to do well. And you know, if that means that there's still a little bit of a trail happening and ending off as the weapon disappears, that might actually like also not be a bad thing necessarily. So we... Actually, no, that's not even a problem, honestly. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about the particle system today, because that would be a whole separate thing. And we can probably just film most of a stream with that as well. I just want to check if I move into here now, in combat. The weapon still does disappear. So I need to check whether or not you're in combat for the weapon to disappear to begin with. So what I really need to do is just hide weapon. Needs to have a check is in combat. And if is in combat is true, just like never hide the weapon to begin with. If it's false, like wait a second or two to hide the weapon. And make sure that it has a timer handle, so that if I start a new combo, that timer gets cancelled out. That makes sense to me. Do I have a reference here to the game mode yet. I do. Do I have... Well, I have an include. Do I have an actual variable for it? That's not the thing that I was trying to check. It's this one. I don't. I probably should make a member variable for that as well. Because this already has a bool for is in battle. So let's try to find the game mode. And just I'll set them public for now, I don't really care. This will be a class, and then we move this to begin play. We'll do that at the very bottom. And then in hide weapon, we check if game mode B is it private? Oh, hold on. that's in the wrong header file. So just gonna put this up top here somewhere. So I'll be easily able to spot that it's an issue. B in battle. So now it should only make this thing disappear if I am not in battle. If I'm not in battle. So if this is false, it will set it to invisible. If it is true, it will always keep the weapon in my hand. And then that whole like timer handle thing that I was blabbering on about, we'll probably do on the next stream on Monday. And then I'll also, okay, first things first, this disappear. That disappears a little too quickly now. We'll worry about that later. Again, that needs to have more code to it as well. So, but now it shouldn't disappear anymore. Yeah, so I'm in battle. My character will be holding his weapon the entire time. But the moment I'm like, hey, you move out of here. There we go. And you're far enough away, the weapon disappears again. And I can do that, but again, there's a bit of an issue going on there with like the timing, but that needs to be split out into two different functions anyway. The reset combo, I'll just right away take the hide weapon out of that because that needs to be separate altogether. Okay, we'll have something to do on Monday anyway, because we need to refine the code for this and then also start adding some at least temporary effects on it to make it look good, and then we'll maybe also start adding in the weapon cycling system because I've got two weapons now, and if we have any time left on Monday, we might start doing some animations for the other weapon as well, because at the moment it's just reusing the animations from the sword, and of course it's gonna need to have animations to itself. For now though, it's been a good one. Thanks everybody for dropping by, stopping in, and having a good time all together. I'll be back later again with some more streaming on Monday, and of course videos will keep going up on a almost daily basis if you count shorts. Tomorrow there will be a gameplay ability system video is what I'm trying to say.